What's up, guys? My name is Marco. I'm with Audio Lounge, and today I have two very special guests with me, Mikey and Justin from the band Modern Daybreak.
What up?
What's up, guys? They're here to talk a little bit about their most recent single,
Covered in Light. Covered in Light just came out in January, and Marco was the guy who mixed it all, and he did a great job. So we're just going to talk about all the things that he did to the tracks that we sent him, and get into the nitty gritty.
Yeah. We got the sessions here, and we're just going to hang out a little bit, so.
Enjoy.
Clap for camera. Here's some of this noise. This is completely raw, by the way, so this is just how I get the session. I don't know how far back you want to go, and then I have the mix in another session.
So this is what we sent you.
This is essentially what you send me, yeah.
We try to get it as close to like sounding good, just raw too.
Yeah, absolutely. When I get it, I'm just organizing everything, you know.
Which I need to work on that too. I feel like I should, like Cicada Emergence, I think I numbered it. That probably made it a little easier.
Yeah, certain things, but everybody has their own system, you know, so whatever makes sense for you, you know. It's nice because then it's organized, but then I just go ahead and rearrange. So this session here is actually just like, okay, cool, I like all my drums at the top, you know, and then I do bass, guitars, and then usually synths or keyboards or anything that's like kind of extra, you know, that's not like core band, I guess.
Right.
And then all the vocals at the bottom. So, yeah. And then I like to do rainbows sometimes on all the extra stuff. So that's why it just kind of fades to pink.
Ooh.
I feel like ours, we kind of have like band colors. Like I'm the orange guy, Justin's green, Arthur's red, and Matt's purple.
The bass has to be purple.
For some reason it does.
And I don't even have like a real color scheme. I just kind of make sure that things that are in groups are like the same color, just visually, you know.
That makes sense.
So, but yeah.
So that's the first thing you do is like organize and...
Yeah, just so I can get everything where I'm used to seeing it, because then I'm like, okay, cool. If I hear something, I can just go right to it, you know.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you're right though. Like it sounds really good because all the sound, especially on this one too, it's all like printed into the sounds already, which made it super easy because then I didn't have to like think about it too much, you know. And then it was just like, okay, let's just like EQ and compress basically, and kind of just go through the whole thing. So, but yeah, this is like all completely.
We like the drums too. We started in the module, like EQing it even on the overhead mic specifically. Like we'll boost that on the, because we know we want to do that anyway. So just get it immediately.
Yeah, exactly. Which is nice because then like I don't have to rely on just like, okay, you guys have a million notes, and then it's like, okay, it's not quite right from the start even.
Right,
you know what I mean?
right.
So it's easier for you to have that confidence, I feel like. And then for me, it's just like less distracting to not see anything there too. You know, if there's already stuff going on, then I'm inclined to like make certain decisions or something. I feel like, you know. Yeah, and then like basically from here, I go through and I just try to address any like not issues, but things that I think might need to be touched up a little bit. So specifically in this was like the snare drum thing, because I wanted all the snares to be like really nice in phase. So that's when I went through and I just took all of these and then I went through and did. I made a video on that too, where I kind of go through and I like replace all of them, just to make them perfect.
So we had the Nord pan.
Yeah.
I think a couple of them actually.
Yeah, I took the main snare track because I figured that was like the you know, meat and potatoes.
Before,
exactly. And then
we had a couple different sounds in like the chorus for sure. We had like a kind of a bigger snare sound.
Yes.
And something else for the instrumental parts.
And something cool about these drums too is that because all the cymbals are split, it's cool because you have just control over each individual.
You can pad them pretty hard.
Yeah.
Well, I know in the past you said like I think they came stereo tracks, but I think you converted them to mono, or was that just the toms that you did that for?
If I think the snare, the kick, and the toms usually would come stereo, and then I convert them to mono.
Yeah, that's
this
cool.
way I can get the panning that I want. You know?
Yeah. I've been using
like,
that trick too.
Yeah, and then if there's like an overhead track, I'll usually keep that stereo, because this way that's like, okay, here's like a base image for it, and then I can use that to kind of guide where I put the rest of the
Yeah, cause like I set the width and the room mic, how far away they are, and like, the delay and all that. So like that's good to leave that, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And I really like the rooms in this too, especially with the electronic kit. It actually has a lot of like low end information in there, which is awesome for this song too.
Yeah. So for the folks at home, just so y'all are on the same page, we used what is it, Roland
TD27.
Roland TD27. So we record that all straight into.
It's USB.
It's a USB, right?
Just one cable.
So how many tracks do we get from that?
I think it's 14 stereo tracks.
Yeah. The most I get is like 14 or 15. Sometimes there's like an extra one if you include like the whole drum track. Ooh. And every now and then I'll audition that as like kind of an additional room, and I'll like really crush it with some sort of compressor. Sometimes it's cool, sometimes it's not. You know, I don't think I used it in this one because I see it's muted right here. But
yeah, that's basically because in Logic, all the drum tracks I have them in a sum folder. So that's like the sum track. If I forget to like separate them out before I export them, that's why you get the overall one.
Yeah, which is cool, you know, because sometimes, again, like to me, I'm just like, okay, this must have been something they used or included, so I'll try to use it in a fancy way. And if, you know, if not, I'll just...
I try to get rid of the sum tracks now when I send it, though. Yeah. But maybe I should.
I don't mind them, you know, because eventually everything does make it down to its own, you know, track. I usually bust everything. You'll see in the mix folder here.
Once we discovered kind of the overhead track and how it has a nice amount of sizzle in it.
Yeah.
That's why I'm like, can you accentuate that a little bit? Because I love a good sizzly drum kit.
And especially on the album too, there was a lot of really, really cool overhead sounds and stuff that really...
Thanks, man.
Yeah. Specifically too on when we did Cicada, and I think you mentioned it too, you thought it was like the best drum sound.
I love that song.
Yeah.
Well, that was near the end. I feel like we got better and better as we went.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, this is like actually the full mix. I'm gonna make this like active because I don't need that. But yeah, so
this is with all the edits.
Yeah, so I committed some of these tracks just because there wasn't too much going on. So yeah, so this main snare track was unchanged, and then I went through and aligned all these, so you can see they're all just like perfectly
beautiful
together. Same thing down here. These are all really cool sounds too.
Yeah, that's a synthesizer. It's not even like a sample pad or anything.
So we took a totally different approach on this song than we did with the album, because on the album we did no metronome, really hardly any how do you say?
No grid, no strict grid.
No,
yeah.
We're not to the grid on the album. But for this song, because of the style, we definitely did it to a metronome, and then...
We started it just you and me, too, so we knew that adding other layers, it would be easier.
Sure, yeah.
The no-click thing only works if you have at least 3 members, I think.
I think something like this, too, not that it can't be done without one, but just kind of having a little bit of that... electronic feel. I don't want to say dance, but like, you know, that like really pulsing kind of thing. Because that was one thing I did, which I don't normally do, but I actually used some sidechain compression just so that the kick and the bass were interacting really well. So there's more of like a pulsing. You know what I mean?
So what's that automation? Is that Auto's volume?
It's volume, panning, and some of it is even EQ. So like this EQ here. Depending on, you know, the section, I might want like less or more of something. So let me find what this is actually. So this is the beginning here. It looks like it's just volume. So sometimes I'll use this EQ specifically just for a volume adjustment. Because if I've already made a bunch of like volume automations here, I can't just like lower it, you know, with the fader. So something like this is like if you guys had a note and you're like, hey, bring this up or bring this down. That's why this plugin ends up over here, just in this section over here, not right next to it. Oh. Usually that just is like a mental indicator of, hey, this was added on after the fact. Right. So then I just add it on, this way I have the option of EQ if I need, and then I can just adjust the output and then automate it on or off where I need it. So yeah, this must have been like the high harmony up here or something, if I recall correctly maybe. Yeah, we wanted to like lower those or something at a point,
Yep.
so I just did that really quick, just because.
It was just for the intro or whatever.
Exactly, yeah, and it's just way less of a headache than trying to go back through the song and just fine tune all the automation I've already done. So, just keeps things simple for me. Because realistically, I try to use as little plugins as possible. You know, the main vocal really just has this chain going on, which is just a compressor into an EQ and then a little bit of de-essing going on. So it's really straightforward and simple. And again, it's because you guys like some of the tracks really, nice and fleshed out already. So they just kind of like work together.
Good. They did add a couple extra, just like the high vocals that by themselves they don't sound really good at all, but when it's kind of tucked into the mix, throw a little reverb on it, and you got maybe 4 or 5 other vocals with it that are kind of harmonizing with it. It ends up sounding good.
Yeah, I think they sound great, and I love that you all do vocals too. That's another.
I haven't done it yet. That's one of my goals this year.
Okay, so you're not involved because I know sometimes there's tracks and there's 2 of you, which I think is cool.
Oh yes,
Use the Omni mic.
Yeah. It's just I don't know. Again, keeps it organic and it forces a really like you said, a really nice it fleshes itself together really nice. You know what I mean? It already exists together by the time I get it, so I'm like, okay, cool.
Right.
Like,
Well, the EP, if you remember, I think we had up to 5 people at once in some of the songs. Kind of sounded like a choir.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Which is cool because again, it's like it's a commitment, you know what I mean, and it's less on me. It's like, okay, I don't have to worry about these certain aspects. I can just go, straight to a little bit of reverb on here, a little bit of EQ, and then that's it. Not worrying too much about trying to get it perfect. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's I kind of try to use a trick that I learned from watching Jacob Collier's.
Yeah, absolutely.
So he has done like some mix run-throughs of what his sessions look like, and they're 400, 500 tracks.
Yeah, crazy. Absolutely.
But I learned from how he does layered vocals, and because he does all the vocals himself for most of the songs, and he will do the same part, but he'll change kind of the shape of the note, so he'll make some squeakies. Yeah. And then he'll round it up.
Interesting.
And he'll do 2 or 3, 4 different takes of the same note, and that's how it makes it sound like there's a bunch of people in a choir. So I've used that technique.
That's
more on the
clever.
album, a little bit on here. But you should see when me, Matt, and Arthur are all singing a gang vocal or something, I'm like, okay guys, we're going to do a squeaky one this time, we'll do a normal one this time, and then we're going to do a rounded one this time. So then, by the end of that, that's, 9 vocals?
Yeah.
On top of the main vocal.
And I love that too. I'm a huge fan of Rick Beato.
Oh yeah,
okay.
I watched it.
And he talks a lot about when you have real humans, and this is again to my point of when there's multiple singers on it. There's a natural chorus effect that kind of happens, and I love that, because again, there's this sense of commitment that comes with it. And it's this just works already, and there's no need to, try and bend and shape it in all these different ways, So.
All the vocal line and all that.
Yeah, exactly. I don't
know
use any of
how to
that
use
stuff.
that.
The stuff's available to me, but I'm very much get it at the source. If I have somebody singing here, and I know already that it's not just tight enough, we'll do it again. And you've sang here before too.
Yeah,
so, and you're really good. You have a really good attention to detail already. So
I know when I mess up, I'm like, we're gonna redo that. I know you think it's good. I know it's not good.
Yeah, and it's important to have that awareness, but also not beat yourself down too much too. Because I'm definitely guilty of that. I just overdoing it. Again, but if I have all the vocals split, in 4 or 5 tracks, I'm more likely to go back in and go, oh, I could keep doing this, and I'll drive myself crazy.
Yeah, we try not to do too many takes of the song. What we do, 2 or 3 in this?
5 max, but yeah.
Really?
I don't know, usually it's the second or third one that's really good. We'll do 1 or 2, listen back and that sounds good, let's try 1 or 2 more,
All of the, let me mute all the vocals really quick. because I was listening to just the instruments without the guitars actually, and it was super interesting. Yeah, I already have muted. It gives almost these dance track vibes in a way.
The frog.
Yeah. Same thing. That stuff all just kind of already works. You know, there's not a whole lot going on here. I really just have this compression going. I just dimed it just for volume purposes, really, and then I use the fader to bring it back down. Not a whole lot of EQ. Probably a little bit of like wolfiness or something.
There's my Pokemon influence.
But I love the bass tone too. Works super well with the
We
drums.
spent more time on the bass
Probably
on
anything
this
else.
song than any other song,
Really?
and really any other instrument.
Well, he
on the
recorded
song.
it on top, so it wasn't like live with us. So we were
Okay.
just doing punch-ins and
Okay. Yeah, because I was gonna say it's super tight. Alongside everything else, if I mute all this stuff as well, just the drums and the bass alone, they groove really hard.
So we were teaching Matt the bass parts and kind of experimenting with different notes and different rhythms
Mm-hmm.
as we were recording.
Yeah.
So that was fun. That was something different that we've never really
Yeah.
done before.
Well, it's cool, yeah, because if you do it on top like that, then you have the ability to go. I mean, not like you don't, anyways,
No.
but
I like
So-
doing some punch-ins. I like just be like, I
yeah,
like operating it.
yeah, absolutely. I'm a big fan of like when I do that. Like I'll try and play through as much of the song as I can, and then stop, and then punch in and keep
Right.
going. You know. And the cool thing about this too is there's There's two bass parts, which I love at the end because it's beautiful when it comes in. And one thing I thought
Actually,
was
it is
really
Matt's idea.
That was Matt's idea. He loves adding double bass parts.
Yeah. I try to keep it like, I bust them so they're all just in one aught.
Nice.
And then I treat them all the same until I need to go in and specify one thing. So initially I was like, okay, this isn't cutting through enough. And I think I put a chorus on here.
Good.
By itself, this is really cool. Yeah, and I love when it comes in here. Yeah, and then some reverb automation at the end here.
Some of the
Yeah, it's honestly
the yo vocals.
yeah, exactly.
Fun.
They're so cool at the end, and I don't know about you, but I don't know. I'm kind of nerdy when it comes to this, but it looks like art to me, like all the little like dots and stuff,
Really cool.
and the ice too. The
Oh,
ice is my
yeah.
favorite.
You can hear the pop filter. I think actually the glass hits the microphone at the
At
very
the end of
end.
it.
Does it?
That's what that noise is.
Wow.
So that was what Matt was handling it, right?
Yeah, and then he accidentally touched the microphone with the glass.
That's funny.
But it sounded good. I was like, actually, it's in key, so we're gonna.
You got me covered.
That's great.
Just keep it. Don't cut it out.
Yeah, that's another thing too in vocal takes. I try not to cut all of the stuff out because sometimes there is laughing or talking, so I don't cut it out unless it like I hear it and it's like, okay, something's distracting.
There's like a weird call.
Let's get rid of it, you know. And sometimes I think like the breaths are really important too.
Absolutely.
You know, like coming in and out of the nose, of course.
Yeah, because the breath is human. You know?
Yeah, no, exactly.
If you're cutting the breath out, like, why would you do that?
Yeah, so I think in the beginning here, I kind of muted some stuff just so there wasn't like any noise.
Yeah.
Great intro.
Oh, nice. Spontaneous. Kind of reminds me of Capital Cities. Safe and sound kind of sense like that.
Can you take a look at that guitar?
Yeah.
Because you have it panning.
Yes.
That's the first thing I heard when I listened to it on my speakers. It's like, ooh, he's got him going, woo, woo.
This one, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so this is another one, like, I try to envision just kind of the core of the band, okay, drums, bass, and then there was the rhythm guitar already.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, here's, when the lead gets introduced, so I put the flanger on it, because I heard that. Without it, and without the panning, this is how it sounds. And then I love that. And the delay was already baked in, too.
Yes.
Which is perfect. So again, just it already worked. And I was like, okay, I can just play with this really and just have fun with it.
Yeah, we're learning to commit a little more to the sounds that we're putting in.
Super tight.
Plans tend to come undone.
Yeah, there was this course on Drumeo. The drummer's called Michael Shack. He's like a EDM rolling drummer, and I think it was like 15 different modules. It was like house drumming, trap, drum and bass. Like I learned all these different
Cool.
styles from like a guy that plays EDM drumming.
Yeah.
I did that in COVID. I think it's been helpful learning that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, for sure, because like it's the hi-hat grooves and stuff that you have going that really just kind of every hit is anticipated. You know, it's awesome. These little guitars too in here. Super clean. I love the harmony too.
Oh yeah, that was fun to do.
Beautiful. Yeah, that's so good.
Yeah.
So this part was from what did I have? I think I kept the bass where it was. This is where I actually picked up some of this too. So I made sure that we'll drag this up here. That relationship between the bass and the kick drum was like kind of happening how I wanted it to. You know what I mean? Without it, it's like kind of there, just not enough.
Yeah, that helps quite a bit.
But just like really get that in there.
Reminds me of like bouncing a basketball or something.
Yeah, and specifically there, you know, it really needed to have that,
Yep.
you know, that EDM kind of.
Got me covered here.
It's funny, I like to play music like this, but I'm not very good at dancing to
I
it.
can't dance either.
Got me covered.
In the room too, like I was saying. There's a lot of that like sub information there too, which is really cool.
I can't remember which room emulation I used on this. It might have been just the reverb, to be honest.
This is what it sounds like by itself. compression here. I didn't go crazy with it. Yeah, just knock it off a little bit. And then a tape machine, it looks like, here at the end. I like that.
And you got me covered in love. Covered in light. Covered in light. You got me covered in love. Covered in light. Covered in light.
Yo, that's so cool.
You and I. Covered in light. Anyone can say that you got me covered in light. Covered in light.
Love the little tail on the theremin there. Isn't that weird?
Going this kick while my foot slips or something. And then I was like,
That's cool.
I think the outro, you and I had to redo that a few times.
Yeah.
This is the one part we was like, oh, that wasn't right, you know?
I love little, just like when you remember the take and you're just like, oh, I almost did this, or my finger was like almost, you know, buzzing or something.
Oh my god. But yeah, I love how that outro came out.
Yeah,
It's like the little pause and then the synthy sound is a synth pedal. It's the Boss synth pedal,
yes, that's what I wanted to look at.
and that's what makes that last chorus just
Just
so
kinda-
powerful. Yeah, I love that shit.
Yeah, and I kind of related it with the theremin,
Great.
like,
I forgot how many layers were in this.
what is that? I don't remember that.
yeah, this is the theremin that's in there.
Great.
And then above that, you know, the pad.
I forgot all the little things I had in.
And the bouncy synth is really, really great in there too.
Oh yeah, that's fun.
Sounds like a telecommunications ad or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then of course,
What's the thing that goes bum 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 bum?
Not this thing. In the beginning of the song.
I think it's yeah. Oh, it is in the beginning too. Maybe is that bouncy? Maybe
Is
it
it the
is
guitar?
bouncy. Well, that's good too.
I think it is
That
bouncy
one, the
there,
bouncy
yeah.
synth.
Yeah, because it kind of changes. It's got the like lower one and then the higher one. Yeah, it's super cool.
I realize though, is Arthur not even on this side?
Plans tend to come undone. You know I'm not the one. I feel like a broken son. Heal me, heal me, heal me. For once, for once, you got me covered in light. You got me.
The parts all interact so well together. It's like at any moment something's happening, but as soon as that stops happening, another instrument like takes its place,
It's
which
very
is
like
so cool.
intertwined.
Yeah, it's like a forest. You know what I mean? You're walking through, just all these little things are just popping out, creating
Yeah.
this. You know what I mean? It's so textural.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, it's awesome. Absolutely. We gotta give ode to the frog though. Sorry, let me get these vocals. There. I love that you take the time to do a lot of vocals too.
Yeah.
It usually goes quick.
Yeah.
What's nice, like when they're doing vocals, I could just man the computer and just. It helps a lot. Instead of recording yourself, trying to do it all, it's a pain in the ass.
So when I do any recording of myself, if I have to sing something, I sit here. But I like that vocal mic over there. So I get up
Just
and I
sounds
walk
better
over
there.
there. And as I get closer to the part, I notice I'm pacing faster and faster. And then I start doing takes, I'm like, I'm out of breath. What is going on?
Like, the rhythm is by no means perfect. Like,
Doesn't need to be.
Yeah,
it's
that's
just a frog.
That's what's special about it. Because frogs aren't perfect, right? Bouncy synth and frog. Sounds like you're dreaming.
I can see
Wake
that.
up.
It's like an alarm clock in your phone.
What else is in here? The muted guitar is cool because he goes up.
I don't know why I couldn't get the sizzle out of there.
Oh,
And just in the guitar part. You can hear it.
Yeah, like the hissing.
I don't think it's a bad. I don't
It's
know.
not bad,
In
but-
the whole mix, I don't think it hurts. it.
No. But it was just bugging me because I was like, why is it doing that? But it's all good. And like I tried to dial back the guitar quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Cause like for this part, it was pretty controlled, but especially for the like the dun 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 dun, I wanted to be able to kind of chunk it out
Yeah,
without it being overbearing in the final product.
yeah.
So I was on like maybe 3 or 4 on the volume. I think I was on split coil too. So
Yeah, that'll do it too. As soon as you
Right.
split it, then you're just gonna introduce something
Yeah.
else. I don't mind it because like I've watched, I guess maybe just viewing it as a third party, I've watched so many people struggle to try and get rid of it. You know, and it drives people crazy too. I just got to the point where I was like, that's what rock and roll sounds like. You know, that's what.
There's some noise sometimes.
Yeah.
If you're gonna have an electric instrument, there's probably gonna be some of that. You know.
Yep.
Obviously, you know, use your best judgment if it's gonna affect something.
I don't think it hurt the song.
No, not at all. Not at all. That's why I'm just like, if there's a sound already, like I just commit to it and just kind of mix it in. I don't worry about trying to go through and take out all the silence
EQ
and
every
everything.
little
Yeah, because I'm assuming like you guys already, you know, cut and whatever that you needed to, and if there's something in there that you didn't want or that you already heard, it's probably already taken care of. You know.
It's a bold assumption.
Or like a church organ, maybe.
Yeah. This is a great hit. And the ride too. The electronic ride sounds so good here. It's got like a sizzle to it, you know, like solo. Yeah, absolutely. Let's listen to these drums really quick. Yeah, I love the way that hit comes in.
That was a mistake hit there too on that snare.
After the fill right there?
You go back and come out right there. Listen to this fill.
Oh, I hear it. Yeah.
But it sounds cool. I didn't mean to do that, or it must have been a false trigger or something.
A
But
false trigger something, yeah. Yeah, those drums are everything. Because, like, honestly, if you take out that Nord snare, that part is just, it feels a little bit more naked. Yeah.
I think we'll start doing more of that.
Yeah.
dubbing, especially snare sounds, or
Absolutely.
we need extra cymbal hits, or
You can do like
crashes.
ride bells on top, or
It's
you can
great.
do anything really. You can do just a hi-hat on top if you want.
I really love the way these drums came out. Especially at the end here. Like, there's dynamic throughout the whole thing. You can just see it even. So cool.
I wanted to see the three. I think it's 3 vocal tracks at the very end. The yeah.
Yes.
We could hone in on those.
Those are awesome. So
The
this
high-
I got in.
The high one sounds so bad by itself. It's like I wasn't even fully singing it. It was just like, yeah. And Mikey was unsure if that was the way to go. I was like, trust me. We're going to throw a bunch of reverb on it. We're going to turn it down. It's just going to be just a little note.
So here's that one.
You can
Sounds
hear
like
the
T-Pain.
you can hear a little bit of the pitch correction we put at the end.
I think it sounds so cool.
It's fun. It's fun. And
See,
that's
that's
pretty
like-
much how we sent it to you, right?
For the most part, I put a
You
lot
put
of the
in the
reverb.
reverb.
Yeah, so I
Oh,
got
without
it like this. And then I just added a bunch of the, and I really wanted those tails on there, so there's
Yes.
some longer delays to help with that.
Excellent. Good.
And you know what? I remember hearing that too. That I never cut that out because I think like when you're listening to it, like mentally your brain kind of hears it and it kind of fills in that gap for you, you know, and it's just kind of like, oh yeah, it makes sense. This that was there the whole time.
So wait.
Because
There's a little guy there.
Yeah, if I make this
Yeah, what's that
bigger,
all about?
it's just a little blip, you know.
Whoa.
So I don't know if it was just a mistake at it, but it kind of comes in and then
I've never noticed it. Yeah.
you know.
What?
Oh wow.
Wow.
I thought that was cool.
Interesting.
And then there's this middle one here. Jeez. I love the space on that one
Yeah.
too. And then I got this one up here. Oops.
Because we did use slight pitch correction for the rest of it, but then we were like, this part's kind of
It makes it,
fun.
though. It's-
Like it's like very synthy. It's dancey.
Yeah.
Like it's. So we're just gonna.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
try
why
it.
I wanted it to be like. I was thinking of The Weeknd. He's got
Yeah,
a lot of like
yeah.
tails and echoes and things going on in his vocals. So I was like, okay, I want it to fit the song still. But I was like, yeah, something like just really sending it off into the distance kind of
Yeah.
thing, you know.
Love it.
Yeah, and then I even just came down and just on the reverb track itself, I just boosted every time one of those things happened.
Hey, so we just kept it going.
Yeah.
Cool. I like that. So when the reverb is like on top of the main track, it gets a little messy.
So
But-
what I like to do personally is use sends.
Yeah.
Because then it's like I have two of the same signal. Like I have the dry signal and then the wet signal, and
I
then
like to do it that way too.
yeah, because this way it's like to me I have 200% versus 100%, and so what happens is I maintain the clarity at all times
Yep.
by having that main one, and then I can just feed in the reverb.
Awesome.
And then how I send it, you know, because I have all these things feeding into each other, is on this particular song, I have the delays and the reverbs all feeding into one big vocal oct. So everything that's happening vocally, it just trickles down to this one, this master, track here. And then I just have like a little bit of EQ on there if like I'm hearing something at the end, like, just cut that out, And then I always just kind of throw a little bit of compression on here, just because it just helps with like, there's not a whole lot of them. Yeah, it just kind of
You got me covered in light. Running beside.
It sounds good, and then with the compression, I feel like it just kind of gives it more like of a dimensional feel.
You got me covered in light.
You know what I mean? It doesn't feel so flat. More like you're kind of like standing at the front, and you got like people behind you, kind of thing.
That's so cool.
Yeah. So yeah, that just kind of tames everything. And then it's also easy too, because if I need to do like an effect, like if we're like, hey, what if at this point, like the whole song, like, I don't know, does the DJ scratch it or something like that? It's just easy to have one track to just do the effect on really quick, than having to go through like 10 tracks and like try and mimic the effect all the way down. And then usually I have something like that. Like this is just like a feed for like the video that I'm not using right now. But usually I have something like this, which is a mix bus. And then everything feeds into that. So if I need to do one massive effect or something, I can, stutter, stops, like weird things like that. The song was a lot of fun.
It was fun to make. It was different.
Longer process though, to do it like to the grid and like all the layers.
Yeah. Did you, when you did it to the grid, did you like record it and like assess every take as like how close it was to the grid, or just more so like how it felt?
I feel
It was
like
just you and me
because we just did duo for the
and your vocal
bass
scratch.
and a scratch track for vocal. I think we went by feel, especially because we're mostly concerned with the drums. So I did overdub the guitar again. I don't know if we kept the original guitar take.
Honestly, can't remember.
I don't remember. Is there like I don't think there is.
There's
Like the dun, 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 there's only the one track, right?
yeah. So there's these
That's
like
we added that later.
Those are my little ambient brain paint tracks.
yeah. So let's make sure that all is cool.
No, because we totally scratched the,
Original guitar. I can't remember.
Yeah.
which is fine. Because then once we got the drums where we wanted them, we could build on that.
So yeah, so that's Or is that is the original?
That's an additional.
Oh.
So Mikey played some of those guitars, and like the ambient stuff, which I love. So that's me.
That might have been the original, actually.
That one?
I think it's hard.
Is there another guitar that is
There's
playing
I'm
that
gonna
one?
need these vocals again really quick, and then
Or maybe that would explain why Guitar 1's gone. If we didn't send it to you, we might have deleted it.
Maybe.
Oh yeah, maybe because I had guitar 2 and then just this interlude guitar. So
Yeah, we must have just redid it.
I think that's another reason why I probably did a little bit of this panning too, because if there's only one like kind of guitar like that, I was like, okay, let me have it affect both sides. That's probably what I was thinking of doing. But if I do that alongside the drums, I bet you guys might be able to tell. They sound really tight together, so it could be that original type. Great reverb effect there too.
On which one?
On this snare drum.
Oh yeah.
It's huge.
That's the chorus, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's really cool.
Yeah, so we played more kind of producer role, if you can call it that. We were like adding a lot of the extra stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, we like the album way of recording better, I think, just
Sure.
for workflow.
Yeah, yeah.
but
Easier to play it live too. This
For
one's
sure.
harder to play live now.
Yeah, no, I see. Yeah.
couple layers. But it's so fun. And like this, it was a fun project, and I love how it turned out.
Yeah, definitely. So, are you gonna keep with the electronic drums going forward? Or do you think you're gonna go back to some of the acoustic stuff?
Oh, it depends. We recorded some acoustic drums the other day, actually.
Oh, really? Is it
Yeah.
for like a new song,
Oh,
or just
Some
like
videos.
what?
like an
Yeah,
alternate,
videos?
like acoustic version. I just had kick, snare, hi hat, and like a
Cool.
one crash.
Yeah.
Simple. And I did like a mono overhead. It turned out really cool.
Really? Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, that's why like I like a setup like this stuff here.
And there's more sticks like that too.
Yeah, cocktail kit kind of thing, you know.
Yeah.
Because I can't do like full on live drums down here, you know. But that is like, it's perfect, you know, for stuff like that.
If you crank the gain and like kind of play quiet, it sounds out good.
Yeah, you know what I've done too is I've put just a mono overhead through a Sand Amp.
Yeah.
You know, so some sort of distortion is really, really cool. And then if you have a mix knob and the plug-in or something, you can just kind of crank it just enough, you know?
Think about that.
Super, super cool, you know? Or even just putting the distortion on a send and then just feeding them and blending it like
Right.
that.
I love that.
Super, super cool.
I like doing that with the vocals too.
Yeah.
And a little bit of like a grittiness,
Mhm.
keeping the main track, but adding that like distorted or
The
Yeah.
fuzz. We use the fuzz a lot. on the album.
like a literal fuzz pedal.
Yeah.
Like a little
Do
fuzz
you,
pedal.
do you
plug-in.
use it like as an outboard gear, the pedal?
I think we just used the Logic one.
Oh, okay.
Just like the pedal board designer.
Have you seen people do that before?
We could do it. I
Yeah.
mean, we've
It's
ran
cool.
stuff through my pedal board before.
Yeah. Yeah, because I know sometimes people send stuff out of the back of the interface, you know, through a guitar pedal or whatever, and then back in. So, yeah, super cool.
I think it's important for songs to have like just like the little extra textury stuff.
The Easter eggs.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you guys are really good at that too, because like, especially when you do the live recording, you know, because okay, here's the core of the song, and then you can spend so much more time being creative and adding all the fun elements, than like kind of exhausting yourself trying to make it right. I guess you know what I mean. So
So when we record as a full band, we love to get like all four members one good take.
Mhm.
Maybe punch in a few
Yeah,
spots
right.
if needed. But
yeah.
Like we're really focusing on the drums for sure and the bass, and if we have to go back and do some guitars later, that's fine. But it's way more fun to record all at the same time.
Yeah.
And like that just
like
does-
Emergence was like that. That was all four at the same.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So here's an interesting question, I guess. When you're writing, do you guys kind of demo stuff out and then you take it home and maybe noodle or, you know, come up with parts at home, and then by the time you come to your next rehearsals or whatever, you're trying those parts out, so by the time you record, everybody knows what they're playing? Or are you writing like in the room together kind of thing?
We write in the room together, but
Yeah.
I don't think we record the same day we write necessarily.
Okay.
Like I'll record demos of it. I'm always rolling the tape.
Sure,
but
yeah.
I feel like sometimes we're just playing an idea, and then Matt will get an idea and take his pen and pencil and just me and Arthur are just grooving playing, and he's just scribbling away his lyrics.
Interesting. Yeah, because I just had this conversation with Sam, and we were talking about writing in the room together versus taking something home.
Right.
And I always felt more comfortable taking something home, just because I could focus more. Sometimes, like, if I'm in the room with four people, like, you know, one person might be like, wait, hang on. And the other person's like, wait, I gotta figure it out, it's right there, you know? And then,
I think Moth was that way, right?
Moth
Like
was very collaborative.
I found like this drum set that I was going for like a Weird Fishes vibe, like super dry, and I was just playing that like beat. And I don't know, I think either you or Arthur came up with a guitar part, and then Matt just like had a brain blast, and he wrote the
Right.
whole fucking song. And
that's awesome.
5 minutes.
See, yeah, that's really cool.
And so we experimented with. My job is to put melody to it.
Uh-huh.
So I didn't nail the melody right away, but I kind of experimented with like the. And took it home for a week and really nailed what I wanted it to be, and I was like, okay, guys, I got
Yeah.
this. But yeah, that was
for like the album, we'd have like a writing session, and then we'd record it the next time usually.
Okay.
And then we'd record a song and then write another one. We'd always be like working on two things at a time, kind of like leapfrogging.
Yeah. Well, that's
That
good,
makes
though,
sense.
you know, so you're never really stagnant, I guess.
And we had the deadline.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's
We
that's
did.
true, too. It definitely, like, lights the fire under your butt, you know?
Yep.
I almost say do it again that way.
Hey, for the folks at home, big tip: if you're planning an album, book the venue for the release show before you start recording,
Yes.
and you'll get it done.
It is important though, I think, because if you don't have a deadline, then you're constantly telling yourself, "Oh, tomorrow."
Not good
tomorrow."
enough.
Yeah.
I want to go back and change this.
You never want to be stalling out. Stalling
Yeah.
out's a bad spot to be.
I've definitely been in bands where, you do get stuck, or like you're waiting so long, so by the time you do get to recording and putting those songs out, you're already, 6 months ahead in the future, and you're writing and
Or years.
enjoying it. Yeah, exactly.
And then it comes out of order in like your portfolio, and you're not even excited about it anymore because you've leveled up since then.
Exactly, and it's so and it's like it's not good enough because you've improved so much. So now you're listening so much more, critically. And
Oh, I should just redo it.
I know, it's
commitment and like when you actually release it, I think are so much more freeing than perfection.
Which, like for me, I've seen the growth that the band has taken and exhibited in the past 5-6 years. It's like some of the earlier recordings are not great. They're good songs, but we wanted to release, so we were committed to just releasing songs and just getting better ever since. That's what we always say. Like, as long as each release is better than the last, we'll keep doing what we're doing and keep leveling ourselves up.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we don't want to be stalled or stagnant. So.
Yeah, I know. I think you guys have a really good formula, and it's so much fun because I don't think there's really any two songs that sound the same.
Really?
That's what's so cool about it. It's every time there's something new. It's literally something new.
Yeah.
That's what's cool.
And then we were kind of going for a little bit of a shock factor for Covered in Light.
Yeah.
Because the album is very rock oriented and.
Well, we're using electric drums too, so it's like, why not lean into that
Right.
instead of trying to make it sound like acoustic drums?
Yeah, totally.
Just use it for its strength.
Yep.
Phil Collins inspired for sure. He was a big 80s electronic guy.
I think like when it comes to acoustic drums, I kind of have a similar mindset where you're kind of leaning into the sound. With the technology we have nowadays, it's very easy, I think, for people to get into the habit of manipulating something to sound like something else they've heard, which is totally cool in its own right, but I'm much more a fan of, like, if the drums have a sound to them already, or they're very roomy, or maybe they're slightly out of tune or something, like, catering to that and owning that is what's going to make that song unique, because then everything's going to, form around that, as opposed to, if you're trying so hard to manipulate one thing, in my experience, I feel like you're just going to have 10 times of a harder job going forward and through the rest of it.
Sure.
I just try to make everything fit with the music around it.
Yeah.
So I'm changing cymbal sizes, diameters to fit, like, does this fit with the bass, or like, I try to make it, that's why it's nice recording together, you could hear in context.
Exactly, yeah. And
I wish that cymbal was a little lower, or I wish it was a little bit lighter, and you can make all those, just dial it in exactly where you want it.
I guess that's another huge advantage with the electric.
Absolutely.
Like when you have, the acoustic thing, and you have something. Yeah, let's go spend $600 on some cymbals.
And some of the best guys have tons of cymbals, but
You got me covered in love.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that. Once again, we're Modern Daybreak, and you can check us out on our website, moderndaybreak.com. We're on Facebook and Instagram mostly. YouTube, we're trying to release some more things on YouTube. And we also have a show coming up at the Cubby Bear on Saturday, March 15th. Might get a little crazy because it's Saturday before St. Patty's Day, so it's going to be awesome.
Sweet.
So I hope you can come out and see you there.
And I'm going to have all of those links in the description below or here on the screen, maybe. But yeah, thanks for hanging out. Again, I'm Marco from Audio Lounge, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks for having us. Thank you.
Absolutely.